I'm so honored to share my story, and I thank you all for being here. I'm super hopeful for you. It was just less than 2 years ago that I was sitting in the same seat that you were. Prior to becoming ill, I was fueled by adrenaline. So I was doing a lot of adrenaline-seeking sports. I was working 3 jobs, volunteering a lot. I was always like classroom mom and, helping in Girl Scouts, running all the kids around. And that was part of my perfect storm. I also had a surfing accident and broke my sacrum. I was exposed to mold, had some chemical exposure. We were raising a child with special needs. He was diagnosed on the autism spectrum and was also infected with Lyme, but we didn't know it at the time. All of that fueled the perfect storm. I remember being at a concert and there was a lot of smoke, and after that it just kind of signaled to my brain. It was like, wow, overload. And suddenly I became ill with anxiety, started having joint pain and a lot of fatigue. My anxiety got so bad at one point, I thought, gosh, I told my husband, I think you need to send me someplace, like I'm just not right. So my diagnoses were chronic neurological Lyme and chronic infection. I also had POTS, CFS, chronic fatigue, multiple chemical sensitivities, fibromyalgia, lots of joint pain, leaky gut, multiple food allergies. I was down to eating for about 5 years. I ate 11 different things. I had a lot of nervous system issues. I was developing digestive issues and a lot of rashes and various other symptoms, and I was journaling everything, Googling everything. I would just, what's wrong with me, right? And then the treatments that I did were off the chart. It started with, I'm going to go to a naturopath and figure that out, and was given tons of supplements. And the amount of medications that my son and I had to take were ridiculous. Just kind of went down that road of going to doctor after doctor, from gastroenterologist to neurologist to psychologist, psychiatrist, and various doctors. I think the list would be better if you said, what didn't we try to do to recover, right? 29 specialists later, and they finally diagnosed me with all those things. So I'm perusing the internet. Of course, I'm on every forum, Googling every symptom all day, every day, looping out, spinning. And I ran across an interview with Annie Hopper on the Better Health Guy, and her face, her sweet face, was just so inviting. And I listened with kind of skepticism because I'd already tried everything, right? But then I found also a testimonial video that Riley did, Riley Lindbergh, Christine's son, and watched it and thought, oh my gosh, that's my son and I, right? I've tried everything else, why not? So I ordered Annie Hopper's book, Wired for Healing, as part of a package with the DVD series and the manual, and I did them all together. So I started reading, and what stood out for me was something that she said about the limbic system. And this is Annie's book, Wired for Healing. This is what did it for me, Annie. My state of health rapidly started to change when I understood that a faulty protective mechanism in my brain was triggering a chronic stress and inflammatory response in my body that also caused heightened sensory perception. That was it. I hung this up, I carried it with me every day, and I would look at it, and I'm like, it's not my symptoms, it's my limbic system. And so on my birthday, I popped in the first DVD, and it was the best gift I could have ever given myself. After 6 weeks of doing the DVDs, I had enough energy, I had enough calm, energy to get to Victoria in December of 2017. And it was the very first time I had ever flown by myself on a plane in an airport in over 26 years. Like, I had that much anxiety. Wow, that changed everything. I mean, it was great to have the healing of the 6 weeks that I did with the DVD, but going to the live workshop with the facilitators and breaking everything down, I mean, it was beautiful to be able to ask questions and have the coaches available to answer them. Meeting other people who had suffered just as much as I felt I had was validating in some ways, but then, you know, not talking about our symptoms and just really delving into the work that Annie puts together, and it's really structured. She makes it so it's structured and you follow it, and they're there every step of the way for support. And then meeting the people and watching them transform from day 1 to day 5. Not only was I seeing it in myself, I was seeing it in the participants. And, you know, Annie talks about mirror neurons, how neurons that fire together, wire together. So we were all there as a group supporting each other and working together, which elevated our mood. And the shift within the 5 days was inexplainable, you know, but amazing. My rounds always had to be number 1, even on vacation. So every day I didn't miss a day. I made a commitment to myself, I'm not going to miss a day. Practicing the rounds and utilizing all the steps of the program was just as important as the air I breathed. And it took me a little longer than 6 months, but it was worth it because it elevated my mood. And not only did my symptoms go away and I was able to recover, my joy for life and being able to see the beauty in the little things was one of the greatest gifts of all. Smells, my chemical sensitivities. Riley talked about this. I'm not going to call them out. I'm going to call it Mamba, Crombie, and Mitch, right? I can walk through there, and like you said, you know, I used to avoid going to the whole mall because of this store. The detergent aisle. Oh my gosh, right? Those walks at night when the dryer vents are going, I can't even smell them anymore, and I feel great. I can eat chocolate and sugar and whatever. There's nothing that I can't eat. I was able to utilize incremental training, so I was able to eat, you know, more than just 11 foods that I had been eating, you know, for years. I noticed my hives were getting better, my migraines, my eyesight had improved. This is Disneyland. So this is last summer. We went 3 days, open to close. My family, I was able to ride roller coasters, and standing long periods of time, I don't get dizzy anymore. I'm able to do my yoga practice and do headstands and be upside down. So I no longer have POTS, chronic fatigue, anxiety, and now I'm able to go wherever I want. We went to Cuba recently, and boy, there's a lot of smells in Cuba. Gasoline, a lot of lights at night, and horn honking. So all those sensitivities to sound, smells, and lights, it wasn't even a thought in my head. My body temperature is regulated. I can be in the heat or the cold and handle it, no problem. We went to Chicago a couple of months ago, and it was in the middle of the summer, and we rode our bikes 18 miles and walked 12 miles in one day. And I still had energy, but I was also able to go to sleep at night. So I was able to rest after that exertion. My body was able to be calm, when before it was like I was buzzing all the time from adrenaline. Not anymore. And it also impacted my family greatly. My family. That was our anniversary picture. We'll be 27 years this year, and I was doing dishes, and my daughter thought it would be a cute picture. So my family. So I have to say, okay, doing this work helped my son, right? Me utilizing the program actually helped my son heal. So his mental health, state of mental health, was so much better just because I was experiencing such joy and happiness and just gratitude. And so, that impacts the whole family. If mom's happy, then kids and husband are happy. And they were such a great support through all of it. What would I say to the person who's still suffering? Keep the faith. You're worth it. You're totally worth it. And I'm so hopeful for you. It's possible. There's all these testimonials across the world, right? So many people have used it to heal. You don't have to believe in it for it to work. Just do it, right? Do it like she says, though. Just exactly. I think that was it. I made a commitment to never miss a day. And if I had a cold or something, I wouldn't incrementally train, right? I would just do what I could, do the rounds the way that I could to support myself in self-care. It's possible. You don't have to suffer anymore. You can have healing, and I'm so hopeful. And I'm so glad you are all here. And thank you so much, everyone, for letting me share my story and for being present and for doing the work. Make it fun. Make it fun. Thank you.